Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all. And I'm very happy that we are all on the same platform to share a lot of info and insights into UFOs and Vimanas. A very welcome to everyone. And my name is Sishi, and I'm an electrical engineer and also a researcher on ancient texts. I'm currently a team member of Ravana Aviation Research and Development Division. So, firstly, I would like to introduce the founder and visionary of RARDD, Captain Harsh Govinda. He's a professional aviator and a qualified theoretical instructor pilot. He's also a graduate of Kotela Bala Defense University. He also served as a helicopter pilot and served the Sri Lankan Air Force. And later he obtained a postgraduate diploma in archaeology from the University of Kelaniya in Sri Lanka. Currently, he is into his master's degree in archaeology at the same university. So this platform has been established by Captain Harsha with the purpose of sharing, gaining, and seeking the knowledge from ancient texts irrelevant of this literature or language. So today, before we enter into the discussion panel and how we would do this, I would like to inform that we in our team, we do not support or encourage any religion or country. We consider equality above all. But this research is intended to benefit the humanity, to gain, share, and seek knowledge, and thus apply it for the healing and the development of Mother Nature. And RARDD is a special division of Ravana Aviation, which was established in the year 2012 in Sri Lanka. I cordially invite Captain Harsha to take the lead. Over to you, Captain.
Yes, thank you very much, Sisita, and hi, Bowan, namaste, vanakkam, assalamu alaikum, and good evening to you, those who are participants from Southeast Asian countries, and good afternoon to you, those who are participating from European countries. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you. First of all, I would like to give the vision and missions of the RARDD. And as said this Sisita, it was established in year 2012. Now, when you come to our vision of the RARDD, it's clear. We establishing lost ancient aviation knowledge and technology. When you come to the mission of the RARDD, establishing a multidisciplinary post-processual research platform. Now here the weighting word is post-processual. Now we are in the 21st century. We always think about that everything in under the focus of the science background. But here post-processual is very much familiar wording in archaeology. So we are given that more space for the non-empirical evidence as well. Now, when you come to these objectives of the RARDD, ensure worldwide multidisciplinary research platform for researchers to present their ideas and research. And second, objectives of the RARDD, educate and ensure young researchers to do their research in new dimensional research area. Now here, new dimensional research area in the sense, according to that, what we identified, so we are going to declare in the 2021 in January. So third one is very important, that is educate and ensure the young generations to think out of the box. Why I'm saying that? So all of the young generations are now very much fond with these electro devices, and they are not think out of that what they have, the devices, basically phone and laptop and tablet, whatever. It's good, but we have to reread and we go to that our history and rituals and traditions, what's our ancestors practice and believe. There are more information we have to take into our account, and it will be fuel to your career success. Now, today event is UFO and Vimana. Now, you may have doubt why this UFO and Vimana. Yes, there are a lot of scientists have identified there's interlinks. We are also in the same platform, and all these Vimana and written in the Sanskrit document Vaimanika Sastram. And in Sri Lanka, we have some document, and other regional countries as well we have. And we have to reread those things and decode. But we have seen some interlink with the UFO technology and what they have written in this ancient text. When you come to today and the leading of our the mega event, the plan to held in the March 2021, the aim of that platform is to collect all the kind of direct or indirect information spectrum about the UFOs and Vimanas worldwide. Now, when you come to objectives, it's very clear to centralize all kind of collected UFO related data, information worldwide. And second objective is to provide collected data of UFO to the researchers globally. Is there any on request? We can provide these details. Third one is to identify the UFO and Vimana and interconnections, as I explained you earlier. And the fourth one is very important, to identify the missing areas of Vimana by analyzing the collected data of UFO worldwide. Well, the reason is when you are reading this text, the Vaimanika Sastram or other related the document, there are the words is we have to decode into modern knowledge. So it's very difficult. This Vimana, the Vaimanika Sastram, and it is written in the Sanskrit, the wording decoding is very difficult. So in the worldwide, it's less people we have, even though that people, the most of data, they could not decode. So we can make sure some bridge by gathering this information and analyzing that information, UFO, what we have seen today, and what is written there. Because this Rukma Vimana, if you take this company, the Rukma Vimana, the one of kind of the ancient the aerial vehicle. So there is technologies, it's same repeating in the UFO as well. So that is why I'm saying that to identify the missing areas of Vimana by analyzing the collected data of UFO worldwide. Now, when you come to the spectrum of UFO and data, once you go to that prehistoric caves and what they have information, engravings we have, paintings we have, this information is give a lot of, now the data is basically to the researchers. We have to decode them, we have to analyze. When you come to this archaeological site, in these archaeological sites, the carvings there, engravings there, paintings there, and artifacts there. So how they get to this knowledge is a question. The scientists, they are questioning this thing, they are doing this research based on these areas. Now, when you come to artifacts, we have found that archaeologists found that artifacts in the pre-Columbian history sites, this what you have seen in the left bottom, the aircraft model, is exactly the correct aerodynamic characteristic is performed by these two scientists from the German by modeling this aircraft. Now, when you come to oral traditions, it's literature and the rituals. Now, for this research, we should not neglect this area. It's very important. Now, folklore and folk poems and verbal performance. Verbal performance in the sense, in the South Asian countries, we have the yantra, sutra, these are under these areas. So there's some information is related to this UFO and the Vimana. So we have to decode. So why I'm saying the folklores are very important. Our ancestors, how did they get this knowledge? It's questionable. But if they are brought this knowledge in generations, we have to decode them. We have to analyze with that what we have in the ancient texts or modern what we have seen in this as of UFOs. Now, when you come to the recorded history, the recorded data, central government or institutional, we have when they did see these UFOs. It's not in this our region, Sri Lanka also very much. I'm from Sri Lanka. Very much fertilized sites we have, and when you go to this other region of the world, there are a lot of information existing. So we have to get that information. It may be recorded in the government. It may be recorded in the local government area or private sector. It may be recorded as an individual with the evidence. So for example, they may have the photograph, they may have some videos. We have seen some lot of photographs and videos is circulating in the YouTube and other the social medias. So we had to go through and deeply study is that correct or not. Now, thank you very much. I would like to hand over mic to this Sisita. Take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot. And as we had a small briefing about the objectives and vision, we will further go and understand into what the discussion is all about. It is about the emergence of ufology with regards to astronautics, aeronautics, aerospace, and has reported in the ancient texts. And then we are also focusing on the scientific evidence that correlate and interconnect all these texts and modern available devices. We also are giving the importance in relation and formation of analogies between the ancient texts and modern scientific revelations. So today we have distinguished panelists from the areas of aerospace, ufology, which are consisting of academicians, scientists, engineers, and research scholars. So all the panelists are given 4 minutes to express their view on the given topic. And once we pass the 4 minutes, a bell will be rung or I'll be moderating it to the next speaker. Request you to summarize your ideas within the given duration in order to other panelists have their own time to express their view. We also request the panelists that are speaking to make their microphones on and if possible to have their video cameras too on for the reason of recording. So I would also take this opportunity to introduce you to the panelists that have attended and are also attending today for the seminar. So I'll just share my screen where we could also have a glance into the panelists. So we have here Padma Shri Dr. Prahlad Ramarao sir. He's a missile scientist. He would be joining a little while. And he's an Indian missile scientist and a former Vice Chancellor of Defense Institute of Advanced Technology. And he's a former Director of Defense Research and Development Laboratory, one of the top-notch defense research laboratories in India. And then we also have Madhuri Sharan, ma'am. So she has discovered and decoded some certain slokas from the Sanskrit text and also made Chumbaka Mani. She's currently a visiting professor at MNIT Jaipur, India. Dr. A.B. Shastri sir, and he's a managing director who actually infused the traditional sciences with modern technologies, and he's a well-versed Sanskrit scholar. And he's the first author to write a technical textbook on ancient aeronautics. So he has a great acclamation and a worldwide popularity. He has successfully demonstrated that reinventing the knowledge from our ancient scripts is of great use and utilization for the country, and also created some nanomaterials out of copper, iron, zinc, tin, etc. So you could see that he also has a company where he utilizes his knowledge from Sanskrit and applies them. And later, we also have Professor M.S. Prasad, sir, and he's a director for the MIT Institute of Space Science and Technology. Later, we have also young entrepreneurs and space startup founder, Subhash Kuppusamy from Brahmastra Aerospace Systems. And we have some amazing authors and writers from different sectors of ufology and also ancient Vimana technology. We have Sri Kutupanandanath sir, who has written around 4 books relating the ancient technologies of Vimanas with the classified documents which were released in Germany called as the SS Waltz. So we would know more about them in the panel. And then we also have Bijay Upadhyay sir. He's an IAF officer and also a researcher in Vedic science and technology. He was the author of the biography of Shivakar Talfade. So he was Indian technical instructor in arts and crafts department, and some say that he's the first person to have ever created an aircraft in 1895. Another aerospace and defense company founder here, and he is Mr. Ashish Kumar Behra. Then we have Mr. Sunil, who is a National Tourist Guide lecturer and an independent ufologist from Sri Lanka. We also have a UFO investigator, Mr. Hashan from Sri Lanka, who has been well versed in the field of ufology from the last few years. And he's also a lecturer at the Institute of Astronomy in Sri Lanka. So we have a wide panel of people and also wide area of panelists that have come up today to discuss. And so we would go with the questions and the topics that we would like to discuss today. The first topic that we would like to discuss is about the carvings, the art, and the paintings in ancient temples. Well, we can start the question from Sir Kutupanath sir. So, sir, could you tell us more about the books that you have written and how they have been related to ancient Vimanas?
Yes, welcome everybody. I wrote two important books on this subject, Machines, Born Aryans and Vedic Space Technology. Machine Born Aryans is about how the technology went from India to Germany, and then after paperclip operation after Second World War, it went to US. I will write in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I will say just my point of view. In Viman Shastra, that text is in Sanskrit, and such advanced technological text, which is written in Sanskrit, is very difficult to decode. Those researchers who are trying to decode it had quite a challenge in front of them. But how I tried to decode it, when I got the idea, like it must be related with the UFO phenomena. And there were rumors. I followed the rumors, the folk stories, what was written in pre-World War history. Then we have some scholar from Poland, Igor Wachowski, who wrote a book on Die Glocke, the bell. It was a unique instrument which was created by German scientists and the military. And in that book, he mentions it because he also studied the Viman Shastra book, the Mercury experiments, and it's clear from those records which he opened, which were from the German military. There was a scientist called Dr. Otto Schumann. He is famous for his Schumann frequency, uh, which he invented. As it's a resonant frequency of Earth's magnetic field, 7.84 hertz. So you can read. There is a interrogation of Dr. Schumann by U.S. Navy after the World War ended, and that document was declassified by US Defense Department in 1995 or something. In that, it is clearly mentioned his area of research was mercury plasma, how the mercury ions reach to the 5 lakh volts. And the same technology you will see in the Samarangan Sutradhar, when in which the King Bhoj explains the Viman and how it runs based on the mercury. And same you will see in the Viman Shastra. So there is ample evidence how the technology went from the Sanskrit ancient text to Germany, and from Germany to US department. Even why we insist about the UFO and Viman connection, in Viman Shastra books, there are 32, in second chapter, the Rahasya Adhikaran. There are 32 secrets of the Viman. And if you read the 32 secrets, they are bizarre secrets, bizarre powers of the aircraft, which no aircraft has. Only few aircraft now have the radar or television and cameras and everything. But to hide the invisibility cloak, hide the aircraft totally from the human eyes or even the radar, or make the aircraft look like a cloud. These things, where you will find it? Even modern defense aircraft like F-16 or Rafale or any other stealth aircraft, they don't have these capabilities. So where we find these capabilities? These capabilities are there in the UFO witnessers, or UFO abductees, who have seen the UFOs, who have went into UFOs, who have interacted with them, maybe forcefully. You can see the similarity. You can see the clear between UFOs and the Vimanas. There is ample evidence for this.
Well, sir, that is a good sort of information. So, as the time duration is
Sure.
there, yeah,
Continue.
I would go for the next speaker to be.
Sure.
So, we have here Prahlad sir. Sir, what do you think? Like, as you have been a missile scientist for over the years, so have you come across a technology that utilized the Sanskrit text in designing missiles, or maybe in at least researching them?
Can I continue, Sishita?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. I have discussed with a number of experts in the country, both Bharadwaja Munish, Vimana Shastra, and also people who have dealt with many aspects of Vimana. what we have come to understand is that so much details are given in the Vimana Shastra in various publications. So we believe that it cannot be one. We do not have a proof or a evidence or a hardware piece or a literature, a drawing. We do not have. Whatever book we have got from Anekal Shastri is drafted by some, not an expert. So the drawings are not matching with our thinking. So we are not able to move forward. But what we can understand is that the material science, we are able to, many people are able to understand how the various materials can be used, number one. Number two, the engine, the propulsion, how the propulsion works, we have understood. Number two. Number three comes aerodynamics and structures. So this is what we have to do to see, can we realize one of the aircraft in reality? That is the issue that has come. But we are happy that Sri Lanka has taken an initiative, and in Sri Lanka is the place where they claim that the aircraft was landing, was taking off in Sri Lanka. And the aircraft were later flown from Sri Lanka to India. This much is only known, but there is no proof anywhere. So we are only hoping this conference in Sri Lanka will throw more light. At least it will show where all the evidence available in Sri Lanka. At least in India, we do not have any evidence. In Sri Lanka, is there evidence, at least a landing site, or some artifact, or some literature, or something which shows that the aircraft were flying here, or landing here, or taking off here? Some proof, if we can get from Sri Lanka, then India and Sri Lanka can be together in trying to see, decode what has been heard. We have only heard. Can we realize? We also are very keen in what happened in Mumbai, where the aircraft was flown before the Wright brothers. Was it, can we see something of that? Because we understand that the drawings, sketches, whatever was made was being taken away to England or Germany somewhere, but not in India. We do not have any proof, any drawing available. So we want to work together with the Sri Lankan experts and see whether we together can understand what happened thousands of years ago. It cannot be imagination. It cannot be purely sort of a, what they call it as a, some sort of a story which was not really reality. It should have been flying, and unfortunately we have not have proof. So my opinion from this conference is, can Indian scientists, Sri Lankan engineers join hands and try to see, with the best of our knowledge, best of our people working together, can we generate something which we can definitely make materials. We can make engines. What we need funding. We do not have funding because whoever wants to fund, they are asking, what is the proof that it will work? Can somebody invest it and then show the proof? We will fund. Now what happened? This becomes a chicken and the egg story. Who will fund first? Who will see first? So people are struggling to find money, and unfortunately the COVID also has made the situation very bad, very bad. So everybody is looking at some agency who are ready to take a risk, but who is committed that this should be decoded, this should be unearthed. Because India, Sri Lanka were together thousands years ago, were together as one country. So we should work together to see whether we can get back the original Vimana Shastra, which was flying in the time of Rama, how it was flying, how it was what all used to happen. So I feel that this conference should arrive at a roadmap, how the two countries, the two experts can work together. This is my message. And then somebody should fund it. some either a philanthropist or a government agency should fund it. Then we can all go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot for sharing your insight onto this. Well, then we have a very great depth of understanding of what was happening behind this. And now I would request Madhuri ma'am to tell her experience in decoding and developing Chumbak Money.
Yeah, well, first of all, a big thanks and congratulations to all these youngsters who have started this group. And, there was a time when all the ancient knowledge was dying, at least in India, because we were very much impressed by the invasion of Westerners and the modern science only. And people of my generation always thought that these books, etc., are figment of imagination. So it's very nice to see that this is coming up and people are taking it up seriously. And the best part is that the youngsters are more interested in this. The second thing I would like to say is that you have brought India and Ceylon together after a long time. I have one or two questions I would like to say before I enter into Chumbak Money. One is that, all the information that you are collecting through this webinars and seminars, can you plan to eventually compile it in a book form, maybe 2-3 different volumes, but that will be a very good contribution. And all those who are in this, whatever knowledge you are getting and what others have got, if we can get a senior editor who can nicely plan it, that will be very good idea. And third question is that, this, I know Viman Shastra and 4 or 5 more Vaimanik Shastra and books, these are all in Sanskrit. I just want to know, because Kutupanand, he was saying that the literature in different languages are there for UFO and the Vimanas. So I would like to know what are the other languages apart from Sanskrit, which had the ancient knowledge about the UFOs and Vimanas. So that's my question. Now, Chumbak Money, as you said, that it is discovered my way. No, it's not. First thing is, it is mentioned in Maharshi Bharadwaj's Viman Shastra in 12th chapter. And Chumbak Money is actually part of an equipment that they made and they used to carry it on their plane. It was called Guha Garbha Darshan Yantra. Guha means secret or hidden. Garbh means inside womb, and that meant under the earth. Darshan means to show, and yantra is the equipment. So this was an equipment with which they could detect the arsenal hidden while flying, the arsenal hidden underground. So Guh Garbh Darshan Yantra. And it was something like a photoelectrochemical cell, which was eventually converted into images, and that image can be seen. So this is not our discovery. It is Maharshi Bharadwaj's work. And Professor Maheshwar Sharan, he was a professor in IIT at that time, and he got this. Being attached with him for all his research activities, I was attached with him. But the project was sanctioned to him by CSIR. And I must thank whoever it was who sanctioned this project, because we were very sure it will not be sanctioned. It was given primarily for 3 years, and then it was extended for another 2 years. So that credit goes to the CSIR for realizing that yes, there is something in Viman Shastra which is realistic. And then we read it, we studied it using modern equipments. We tried to analyze, study, understand it. That I had presented in my lecture on the 27th. And then I realized one more thing is that there was one person who was doing a PhD also on that. There can be hundreds, thousands, of things that are mentioned here, and students can take it up as their degree program studies. That way, this whole book will be nicely brought about, and then if everybody else's work is compiled, it will give an idea about what it is really. So depending on your field or area of interest, whether you are interested in alloys or whether you are interested in the designing or the machinery or the the fuel, the source, because it explains many things in that book. And I'm surprised that we can understand only one part of it, physical, chemical studies or mathematical, whereas the Maharishi Bharadwaj had a knowledge of even small things like what he should eat before flying, the food that he should take. So, I mean, I'm really thinking that how could one person had so many knowledge in all the aspects? So many people can take up this book and go ahead with it. But as I mentioned in my lecture last time, that there are very many other books also in Sanskrit, which is about Viman Shastra. So one has to get the real copies of them and then work on those also, not just, of course, Brihad Viman Shastra is the biggest one. But others have, worked on the small parts of other of Viman Shastra. The other thing is that I liked here is trying to correlate UFOs and Vimanas. This is very interesting, and the efforts are really commendable. And I give my blessings and good wishes to all the organizers and people who are working, and all the great big scientists who are involved in this work. With their support, we will come up with something very nice and grow up nicely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. That was a great positive force for us working on this. And so I would invite now Professor M.S. Prasad sir, who is a director at MIT Institute of Space Science and Technology, to share his insights on the relation between the upcoming space technologies and the ancient Vaimanic technology.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for calling me for this meeting. I had the brush with this Vimana Shastra as a knowledge long time back. I have been reading a couple of journals in Germany, and I'm not a literature man of Sanskrit, but a lot of literature published in English. But the real brush with this came with the Kavya, when Kavya brought a design, old design, and with us, we did the CFD analysis. It's true that, what Prahlada sir has said, that we have to prove that there was a design and is it aerodynamically possible to fly. In one of the designs which we saw and analyzed, it appears that yes, it can fly. The composition or a structure says that it could have a place to have the propulsion system and it can fly. But what type of propulsion system is not known. There were some mantras which Kavya used to decipher, or some people decipher. I am not aware of it. But my request to the team would be that we must study it. There is maybe a problem of financing their study, but we may have to grab the literature which is available in Germany or some of the American libraries. And we should get into the literature and try and prove that yes, there was a shape which can fly, and it is possible at that time with some more knowledge in knowledge about material which we may not know today. It was possible to design an aircraft which can fly from one place to another. I really thank the advisors and the organizers of this conference, especially Ravna Aviation Academy and Kavya and others for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. And so we would now ask a question to Dr. ABS Sastry sir. Hello sir, great to have you here. So you have literally surpassed many of these imagination things, like you have developed nanotechnology out of it and stuff like that. So could you share your insights in how these materials could be used in ancient Vaimanik Shastra? Maybe you must have already gone through all these books.
Yes, good evening to all. Actually, I have started this translation of Vaimanika Shastra Shloka to Shloka and decoded that book into the Telugu as well as in English also. Mainly, I focused on material development first of all. So, I have developed several materials, metals, alloys, super alloys based on that. Since 2005, we have collaboration with IIT Madras, and there we have evaluated our all materials, and they found that with advanced characteristics and all those things. Then we actually nanotechnology is a old one in India, but now people are very passionate about nanotechnology. Actually, we started a nanotechnology with the advice of all other IITs and DRDO institutions. So we have completed more than 10 crores of the project. Actually, my introduction is Arshadhatu company is my son's Karthik's company, and I am the founder and director of Sri Maharshi Research Institute of Vedic Technology. No problem. And I am also doing, Dr. Prahalad Garu is also here only. I am actually Siddha expert. So I have done this mercury process and all those things, purifications and all those things. And usually for some, now I am giving proportion to the defense and ISRO propulsion materials. I use mercury only for that. But now the problem is all these modern scientists are very scared about the mercury. If you use word of mercury, they will run away. So that is the problem. So, but for synthesis of some propulsion materials, I use mercury, but finally I am looking that there is no traces of mercury. I am removing complete mercury. So, so many things are there. I am also seeing last 20 years I was in this R&D and developed several applications, DRDO. Basically, I have gone through all this Ashtadhyaya. So Aharadhikaranam I have done, and in Vastradhikaranam I have developed antibacterial fabric and anti-viral fabrics, and some textile technology also developed, and metals and alloys, Ushmapa lohas, high temperature resistance alloys. I have developed that, and the manipulation of materials properties also. I have done several products. For example, decreasing the temperature, melting temperature of iron, and increasing the magnetic property of iron, decreasing the magnetic property of iron. Like so many things I have done, more than I think 65 products are with me. And as Prahalada Garu said, the only problem is funding. I am struggling a lot, but finally I am doing some good work through this company. Now I am able to get something, but not sufficiently.
Okay, sir.
Now we are planning to start one online these courses based on Vaimanik Shastra and ancient technology. I would like to know this group, what is the objective of this group. I am ready to give the project-wise support, knowledge support, lab. I have full established lab is here.
We would always love to collaborate, sir, and this would be a great opportunity for all of us and other researchers who are joining the platform too. So I think Captain would be discussing with you about the whole thing. So it would be good for us to know it after once we give the speakers a chance to speak, and then we could also collaborate others too. Is that okay, sir?
Right.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us. So now let's call upon the Sri Lankan ufologists who have collected some very good evidences, and let's know more about this from them. So I would like to invite Mr. Hashan. So please, would you take us into your journey on being a UFO investigator?
Hello. I think you all can hear me.
Yes, yes. Please go on.
First of all, I would like to thank Ravan Aviation Research and Development Division for inviting me and Slufora Group to join this event. And thank you, Mr. Harsha, for inviting me to join this event. Okay, now I take this opportunity to describe the evidences of UFO sightings that we have collected in Sri Lanka. Before that, let me introduce our association, which is called Sri Lanka's Unidentified Flying Objects Research Association, or otherwise SLUFORA. This is association funded in 1998 to investigate and collecting data about unexplained phenomena regarding ufology. It has recorded data of UFO sightings in Sri Lanka in time to time. Some of special cases Sri Lanka. Some of special cases in it has reported to the International UFO Research Association, such as MUFON and BUFORA 2. Okay, now I am going to show you some incidents of UFO sightings in Sri Lanka. I think you can see now the video. Most of those evidences are nocturnal lights, which were sighting in night time. But end of this video, you can see daylight visuals. Those are according to the Alan Hynek's classification of UFOs. I think you can see some lights that have appeared in night time, and those all the videos are collected from YouTube and this news from Sri Lanka news channels. So in here you can see these lights, and this is a this incident which have happened in Sri Lanka in daytime. He's explaining that he has recorded this video by using his mobile phone, and this is another happening thing in Sri Lanka in night time. You can see here this video has clearly, we can see this is not a light. This is like a disc shape, what we called in UFO classifications and UFO shape. How to be a good UFO investigator, or how to investigate UFOs. Actually, investigation of UFOs is not a hard thing. Someone can think this is so complicated thing, but I think all of you have primary tool for the investigation of UFOs. It's your smartphone. Most of us have smartphones. Using its camera, you can easily have a photograph or video of such of incident, and you only have to be the attention to the environment. That is the only thing you have to do. If you have see something, you can record with your mobile phone or something else. Same time, we can do the research of UFOs by using another method. Okay, like distance to object. We can measure the distance to object roughly, and time and movement of the starting and the end point, and the relative size of the object using some nearby object or unique object like moon. So like this, we can get an idea about this unidentified flying object. Now let me show you the data we have collected. Now I am showing you that we have collected by SLUFORA, Sri Lanka UFO Research Association, from 1998 to 2017 UFO sightings. There are so many incidents we have reported to international UFO agencies like MUFON and British UFO Association. This is our report. We have prepared a report for that. Where is the area that it has occurred, and where is the
Mr. Harshan,
what is the shape of that object, and if there is any evidence of photos or videos like that. So we have collected like that data.
Very
so we have so many
yeah,
details about that from 1998 to 2017.
So Harshan, yes, so it's a great data collection that you have done there.
At the beginning of this meeting, I think Mr. Harsha explained us that they will collect this data to report to the international teams. I think we can give you that information to all of them.
It's great, really. We will definitely collaborate with this, and because there are many.
I think Mr. Harsha explained us that they will collect this data to report to the international teams. I think we can give you that information to all of them.
It's great, really. We will definitely collaborate with this, and because there are many researchers around looking for certain information, we would always be a part of it. And so we would give you a little more time in the later stage where you could tell about it more detail, and that information would be given to a lot many countries by it will be translated, and thus the whole information would be shared. So this would be taken care of once we complete our seminar. So thank you a lot for joining us today. Okay, so now let's talk with somebody who would be thinking about funding Vimanas or funding the technology for Vimanas. So that is when we go to the space entrepreneurs and aerospace companies. So let's talk with Subhash on how and what factors are required in order for us to take funding for such a kind of projects.
Okay, cool. Very good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sushita and Ravana Aviation, for giving me a chance to speak up here. And I'm so happy and glad that more people from India and Sri Lanka are on a space so that they can make and remake the things from the literature and the old literature, and they can make wonders from the they can recreate the wonders from the literatural things, right? I'm so glad as a Indian startup who want to make a launch vehicles, like a private armors, like these are all the things. As a Brahmastra I have started, like you can say, like even the Brahmastra is coined from the term astra, which is able to fly, right? I believe if a thing is written by someone in the literature, it can be recreated. But what you have to do is you have to decode, right? As every person said, it is tough to decode. Like I'm from the state where there is a literature called Sangam literature. I'm basically from Tamil Nadu, which is near to Sri Lanka, and I have written some more books regarding the aircrafts in the oldest literatures. I'm just going on through some literatures which I have gone through. I have read in all these years from my childhood to till now, right? And it is from the Sangam literature under Padinan Keelkanakku Noolgal, right? No, it comes under Ettu Togai, which means the 8 things which explains the culture of the Tamil literature, right? And under that it is known as Purananuru, which clearly explains the war tactics of the people, those who lived in the southern India, right? And what is written there is Vinnavar Vimanam Koduvara Eri Vienula Gandu Veetirupare. It is written in Devaram, right? What it is written actually is the people will be traveling the people will be traveling in the Vimana. What they will be doing is they will be traveling from the ground, what is that, from the earth to the upper world. So what they have said is, in the Devaram itself, the people will be traveling from the earth to the upper world, right? It is written in Devara. And what is written about the Rukmana Vimana is, it is written in the Silappadigaram. Silappadigaram is one of the biggest literature from the Tamil, and what is written is, என்றலும் இறைஞ்சி அஞ்சி இணைவளை எதிர்கூப்பி நின்ற எல்லையுள் வானவரும் நெடுமாறி மலர் பொழிந்து குன்றவரும் கண்டு நிற்ப கொள்நெடு காண்பினோயேர் இவள் போலும் நன்குலக்கோர் இருந்த இவன் இல்லை. Right? What they are saying is, in the Silappadigaram, what they are saying is, the gods are coming and flowering the flowers from the sky. Right? What is written is, they have used the Vimana there. It is written in the Silappadigaram. And the next thing is, from the Purananuru, what I said, புலவர் பாடும் புகழடியர் விசும்பின் வளவன் ஏவா வானூர்தி எய்து என்ப தம் வினை செய்த முடித்து என கேட்பல். Right? Here, what the poet is trying to convey is, Valavan is what the person who drives, especially the Valavan means the person who drives the Vimana, right? And what they have said is Valavan Eva Vanurdi, right? What in the name of Eva Vanurdi means? Vanurdi is especially known for the aircraft, and Eva means it is not ridden by the pilot. And what they are trying to convince is, the drones technology are already there in the Sangam literature, especially in the Purananuru, and they have used it in their literatures, right? And if we decode those things, we can make things. And this is what, as a person who born and brought up in the South India, and who studied aeronautics as a major subject, and when comparing this and this, one side is the pure physics and technology, the one side is the pure literature from my own country, and what, as a startup and as a person and as a company, what I have to do is, I have to make things to come through, which what I have studied in the literature, what I have studied in the physics, I have to collaborate all these things, and I have to make the stuffs to be person and to be easy. And this is my perspective on making the things from the literature. And I'm thanking Ravana Aviation, and I'm thanking Sishita Pilli for giving me a great chance to make a perform that I never spoken in this topic, because I usually talk upon the rocket technologies, but here it is so happy that I'm speaking from my heart, that what I believe that which can be made, though it is tough, we can make. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Subhash. It's great, and we would love to collaborate too. And as you are growing up and into I wish that you would grow up into big space tech soon, and then we could all collaborate and integrate all this technology. Thank you a lot. Well, then let's go for another good panelist, another person that has worked on these Vimanas. And so let's ask Mr. Rohit to talk about his experience in working and deriving some solutions from ancient texts.
Yeah. So I hope you can all see me, right? First of all, good evening to everyone. And I've been working on this Vimana things and the technologies from 2014 when I was in BTech from Jadavpur University, Kolkata. So first of all, I want to tell you that we have been basically only focusing on Vimana Shastra, mainly written by Rishi Bharadwaj. But I have been studying more than 20 books in which I have found different Vimanas existing, as well as different, what actually they look like, and new like 3 different other Vimanas which are not mentioned in Vimana Shastra itself. So first of all, I would be telling you that the first reference of these vehicles, like which goes through the air, and these all things were first being recorded in Rig Veda. Okay, so there are different hymns in Rig Veda which addressed like twin Ashwinis, like Ashwinis were son of sun, Suryaputra Ashwinis, two Ashwinis, and they were using vimanas to travel, and these were actually crafted by Rabhus. Rabhus mainly are the artisans, we can say divine artisans. And these divine artisans were actually with three totally, which is called Rabhu, Vibhana, and Vaja. So these were the trio, which skilled divine artisans, and they were known as the son of heavens. So the first reference was in Rig Veda, and they also mentioned, Ratha as Vimana. Like the term Ratha was not just a chariot, that was Vimana. Ratha itself means Vimana. And as we know, Ashwani Kumar were known as the physicians, like the doctors of that time. They were physicians, they were known as the physicians. And they were used to travel in these Vimanas. And one of the Vimanas, like here, which is mentioned, like the propulsion system, which they have mentioned in Rig Veda, like they used to carry madhu. And we actually, in common language, we know madhu as honey, but it's not the thing. Madhu was different type of a liquid. And also they were having anna. Anna means, we know, rice, but actually that is fermented rice and solution from that fermented rice. So they were having vimanas with different vessels comprising of different liquids like madhu, anna, somrasa. And somrasa is kind of a liquid which was in like the vessel which was made for somrasa was basically made up of skin. So these type of fluids, the mixture of these fluids and the ratios of these fluids made the vimana or different what we say, different vimanas fly. So there is not only one technology, and they used to they used to use different source of energy. It's not only one. We have mercury propulsion, okay, that is very common right now, everyone knows, but they have different biotechnology also involved in it. But yes, they were also looking for to travel in heavens. So it's not easy to travel in heavens, and they used to travel in very great speed. So basically, what is that? The propulsion system is not only the main thing here. Propulsion system is there, but apart from that, there is mainly quantum physics also involved, where they can actually manipulate the gravity or gravitation or time and space, which actually made them fly very fast. And they mentioned in Rig Veda that the aircraft were flying in the speed of mind. I mean, faster than mind. It possesses the speed faster than mind. So you can understand that a normal propulsion system won't have that technology or that speed which we are discussing here. So another thing I want to put down that we can say three different. Others I got. Should I messed up? So yeah. Secondly, I want to tell you about the books which I have gone through, and the books which I have gone through. I will just tell you the first 19 books which I've gone through, and which are Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharv Veda, Ramayana. So Ramayana has that Pushpak Vimana, which actually they were using different technologies like magnetic levitation, and we can say different other technologies were used in that. And Raghuvamshan, Abhinnaja Shakuntalam, Abhimarka, Katha Sarita Sagar, Mahavatsu Avadana, Nikuntana, Arthashastra, Emperor Ashok edits. This is a very important book in which they have mentioned different technologies at that time also, and during the time of Ashoka.
Yeah, Rohit, I'm sorry to interrupt. So could we actually continue it later so that another speaker would get it?
Yeah, fine, not an issue.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's now actually talk a little more about the Vaimanik Sastra and a little more about Vimanas. But let us do this with respect to Sri Lankan UFO sightings. But there is another researcher who has gone to the depths of this, and I would cordially welcome him. So, Mr. Sunil, are you here?
Shall I speak?
Definitely, definitely. Please go on.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm from Polonnaruwa. Polonnaruwa is in the north central part of Sri Lanka. If you can remember Trincomalee, we are just southwest of Trincomalee. And in this district, there are some geographical sites, namely, we have a thing called Danigala. It's about 300 meter high mountain. Next to that, there's a place called Dimulagala. And we call it Gunner's Coin. The English call it Gunner's Coin. And next to that, there's another place called Devagala. Devagala, that is associated with Devas. Right? So around this area, around this triangle, there are many sightings. And in fact, people have observed them for many, many years. That is UFOs mean going back and forth from these mountains. And the very place called Danigal, in fact, local call it Alien Rock. Even you Google it, you find Alien Rock, that is the Danigal. And we have one journalist from that area. I mean, he managed to document all these things. Not only the written document, he managed to take some visuals also, some very good visuals. So what I want to tell is, like, we have a very good database in Polonnaruwa, the sightings in this area. If somebody's interest, I mean, we have a readily available database. Plus, I mean, this area has a reputation. I mean, local students, I mean, was like interest in astrophysics, astronomy, astrology. I mean, as a kind of a rule, I mean, they go to that area. I mean, unmistakably, I mean, they find some observation. So we have a kind of a hot zone there. So my message is, like, if somebody interests me, we have some information we have already gathered, and you have access to that. And if I give you some two incidents in 1989, I mean, there was one case not far from this rock called Dimulagala or Gunner's Coin. We have a government school. I mean, late in the afternoon, two girls have seen a UFO not far from the school. And those days, I mean, nobody had the sophisticated phones or cameras with them. So what we have is just documentation, I mean, done in the local newspaper guys. And but in 2006, this photojournalist, Mr. Gamini Obesekar, he managed to get some very good visuals. I mean, and in fact, he has recorded more than one. I mean, he has very good visuals of the 2006 observation. It was moving from the direction of east to west, moving away from the Bulagala rock, and he has some finer detail. And so what just my message is that if somebody's interested to review and analyze the information, we have a well documented database. These things were telecast on national television, and apart from that, in the newspaper articles, and Mr. Abesekar has all the other gathered information. So if somebody comes to Sri Lanka, in associate with this kind of study, my message is that we have already collected data, and we are very much happy, and we are ready to welcome you all to our database. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I guess many researchers are looking forward for having a solid information on this. So thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
And so I would now like to invite Ashish Behra. So Ashish, are you here?
Well, am I audible right now?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the question we pose to you is, how much interest would you take in developing this ancient technology into aviation, as you are into the aerospace industry?
Yes, from being an aerospace guy, and then I have my startup in aerospace and defense as well. I have been fascinated about aircrafts and also the UFOs, more specifically from 2011 when I saw the first UFO of my life. I say yes, it was an UFO because in the morning of late November in 2011, I saw a strange bright star in the morning while I'm going for for my morning walk, and then I saw a small star is coming out of that like a mothership and a child, or you can say a very small ship which is coming out of that mothership, and it is rotating to that it starts revolving around that mothership, and then it flown away from the mothership towards the east direction. And I was just, I do not know, I didn't know about that, whether it is a UFO, whether it was an aircraft, but still I was just ran behind that small star. But right after that, when I look back to the mothership, let's say it was a mothership, then it was completely vanished. So right after that, then I went for my flight at 24. Then I saw exact time duration, is there any aircraft or not. Then I gone through many number of papers, newspapers, and other stuff on the internet. I searched over all the Google and everything, but I could not find any subsequent proof that there was some kind of aircraft or anything else like that. So then I came across to know about some UFO stuff when I when I get involved into this kind of work. Then I got to know about Vaimanika Prakarana, Vaimanika Shastra, and there are many number of Shastra as well adjacent to Vaimanika Shastra, like Vimana Chandrika, Yana Pukalpa, Yana Vindu, Ankhetaka, and Pradipika. Like the same way, I think someone has mentioned in this program earlier that there are many number of systems that have been developed as per the 32 chapters or the 32 ways or the modes of operation of the Vimanikas. But the Drishya or Adrishya, the way of physically invisible modes of operation, that has not yet been created. But let me tell you, there is a conspiracy theory in US Navy experiment about the Rainbow experiment, which is all well known as I think Philadelphia experiment, in which there were very high applications of electromagnetism. Just because of that, complete ship became invisible from their site. So right after that, when they came into existence of the physical eye and the sight, then the people or the crew member, they get stuck into the wall and also the floors as well. So what the thing is, when we are applying certain kind of the specific frequency based electromagnetic applications, the quantum tunneling effect open for that particular area, and that is when the exchange of the matter, exchange of the physical dimension to other dimensions takes place. So this is what I have been gone through in those years. But I have started my research with my team from last 5 years, and let me announce here that this year in 2020, in the early before the pandemic, we have published one research paper on that, because we are working on electrogravitics and the perpetual motion of electrohydrodynamics as well. And just before a month, we have published another research paper, and the third and the final research paper we are going to publish in 2021. And one more thing, as I would like to mention that before 2023, my company means we are the people, those are going to establish the first unmanned prototype of such kind of technology. Just because, like, you know what, the time when we are researching about all those, we have gone across many number of things, and the team and the research advisory board that we have right now, and the mechanism, the calculations, and the physical aspects and the astrophysical aspects, how it will collide, how it will interact with the space and the time and the dimensions all around us. It creates a certain kind of variable and also the hazy thing. It is completely confusing. But the time when you get the explanation and the explanatory result of that on the basis of a calculation and enormous research that you have done, it creates a certain kind of confidence that yes, you can do that. So on that only, I can go for the prototyping, and I can go for the rest.
Amazing.
So
that's a great
is
development
there any
cycle
more
at the
questions?
back. Yeah. So that's really amazing, and that's a great development cycle that you have been taking care of. So well then.
Just one more thing I want to add that. Okay.
Yeah, please go on.
Can I add up something?
Yeah,
Small
sure.
line. Yeah, many number of people, they are saying that there is no such company those who are working in this kind of field, And the time when I came into came into contact with Mrs. Kavya, I guess Kavya, she was just wondering that are you really working on anti-gravity propulsion system? And I said yes, because from since last 5 years we are working on that. Many number of people, they do not aware of that. So that's why in 2019 we have actually celebrated India's first World UFO Day conference, but the student race and the awareness to the students is very minimum. So what I want to know, I want to create some kind of implementation and also the awareness towards the students, so that they can go for it and they can involve themselves to such kind of innovative things. Because from my point of view, it is the last line. Okay, I hope I'm not killing anyone's time. Okay, so the rocket technology is completely going to complete 100 years. So before the rocket science is going to be very old, I and my team, we are going to establish another means of propulsion, another means of technology, which will
Great.
propel us to the farthest most area of the space exploration.
Amazing.
Thanks
I
very
hope
much.
we would be part of it too. So we would always love to
Yeah.
collaborate. And thanks a lot for
Yeah,
joining us
sure.
and sharing your insights. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So we have Avadani sir. Sir, yeah, you could make your point. Yes. Thank
I
you, sir.
am
Yeah.
Avadhani. I am a reporter for the Hindu at Sangareddy. Okay.
Oh, welcome, sir. Welcome. Thank you.
I came into contact with Kavya when she made a presentation at Geetham University.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
From then on, I am a little bit interested in the subject, though I am a completely unknown guy to the subject. I am a non-technical guy who has no idea or subject regarding these Vimanas. But my intention is, since long I am asking Kavya also, can we make a beginning at some point? Okay, this conference today is an excellent step towards that. But my proposal is, can we make some convincing arguments or documents, which I can't elaborate, but can we make some point where we can meet Mr. Satish Reddy of DRDO PM's scientific advisor and try to convince him that what we are looking at and what we can do. I think this makes a good beginning. Just as a reporter, I am making this point. Okay.
Sure,
Thank you a
sir.
lot,
We'll
sir.
take your
Thank you.
suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Right.
Well then, so I have also shared a link onto the chat. You could also type down your questions if you have for anybody, and we would be very happy to respond to that. Also, we have shared a link for you to give us some suggestions and give us a little feedback. As we are having a time shortage, so there are many things that we would share, and this discussion would continue. And so,
Ms. Shishita, this is Karthik. Yeah, I'm from Marshall Harter Green Nanotechnologies.
Welcome, sir. Thank you. So could you tell us a little more about your technology that you have been developing using the ancient texts? Actually, your father has also expressed his view a lot, and we were very happy with that. And so could you give us a little more depth into it?
Yeah, see, it's undebatable that Vaimanika Shastra is a technical series, but we have to prove it. So that's the biggest challenge, many of us are facing. See, we have been doing a lot of research. People are talking that Vimanas exist and everything, but what exactly is it and how is it done and what technology is used? So in that scenario, our research institute has been working a lot, and we have taken one of the sloka from Vaimanika Shastra, and then we have developed a copper alloy based on Vaimanik Shastra. So we were able to, we approved the copper alloy. So we basically did a project with defense. So we have taken a project from defense, and we were able to prove, the actual material from Vaimanik Shastra. That's what we have done. And from that, we have ventured into nanotechnology based on Vaimanika Shastra. So today we were able to, work on practically proving Vaimanik Shastra and the materials in it using contemporary scientific equipment.
That was great, really. So that's a first step in making believe that these things weren't just sort of literature, but then they were quite scientific and technical texts. So I hope this awareness will be coming up among all our young researchers. So here, Mr. Avdani has also told, like, can we make a brief note so that everyone can understand? Yes, sir, sure, you could do it, and we'll be pleased to present it over here. And well then, so we would also invite Vijay. And so, sir, Vijay, sir, are you here? Mr. Vijay Prasad, sir?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Thanks a lot for joining us and staying up. So you have written a biography of Tilpade, and could you give us a little insight into it and how the aircraft and Vimanas, do you think that he got an idea or some inspiration from these texts?
Namaste to all of you. Myself, Vijay Upadhyay. Actually, I have edited the work of Pandit Sivkar Bapuji Talpade, who had constructed an Vimana way back in 1893. 1893, it was being constructed based on the knowledge which is there in the Rig Veda. So he has written a book, Prachin Biman Kalicha Shodh in Marathi, and that book is being translated into Hindi and English, and I have edited that Hindi version of that book. English book, it is under process now. So later in 1915, Talpadeji has written a book in Gujarati, Guru Mantra Mahima. There he has given detailed information how he came to know about the work of Pandit Subraya Sastri, that is the Yantra Sarvasva Vaimanik Prakaran or Vimana Sastra, nowadays it is known as. So Pandit Subraya Sastri, he was being invited to Mumbai to help Talpadeji, and both Pandit Sivkar Bapuji Talpade and Pandit Subraya Sastri, they again try to make that model of that aircraft which was being prepared by Talpadeji way back in 1893 to make it a flyworthy machine. And they carried out an experiment. And in reality, that experiment was carried out between 1915 to 1917. But in the open source, especially on internet, you will get that he flown an aircraft in 1895. Such type of information is not written anywhere by Talpadeji. In his book, he has clearly mentioned that I have constructed an Vimana. In 1907, he has written that book. But to make it flyworthy, a lot of experiment is required to be carried out. For that, he was requesting for fund, but that was being not provided at that time. But later in 1915, when his friends and others came to know about Pandit Subraya Sastri, they invited him, and all these informations are there in his autobiography, Pandit Subraya Sastri. So now the main point what Talpadeji did, he has used the natural energy source which is described in the Yantra Sarvasva Vaimanik Prakaran. 8 different types of natural energy sources are being described, and he has mentioned these natural energy sources in his book Guru Mantra Mahima. It is a philosophical book, but in the last chapter, he has described about the physical sciences which is there in our scriptures. In a shortly, he has written in, I think, 6 to 7 pages. We have also appended this text to his original, that main work, Prachin Biman Kalicha Shodh, which was written in 1907. But unfortunately, the present day Vaimanik Prakaran which we are having, it is only having a single chapter, whereas the original was, which was memorized by Pandit Subraya Sastriji, it was having 8 chapters and 8 adhyayas and 100 adhikarans, sub-chapters. 8 main chapters, 100 sub-chapters, and 500 aphorism or formulae, or you can say sutras. Out of these, we are only having a first chapter which is having 10 to 12 adhikaran. And based on this, we can't prepare the complete Vimana. So the thing is that Talpadeji was being taught by Pandit Subraya Sastri all the chapters and all the required adhikarans. But later when it was being transcripted, only the first chapter was there, and few adhikarans of the second chapters are available presently. So what Talpadeji actually he tried to improve that his aircraft, but in the due course of time, due to a critical illness, he left this world. And later, when Pandit Subraya Shastri ji requested the British government, they didn't allow him to practically do experiments. So in this way, this practical experimentation was being stopped forcefully by the Britishers. So this is the real thing. That's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you a lot, sir. And so this the reason the autobiography is quite important is because we get this insight into what kind of person was he, and how technical a perspective that he possessed. Yeah. Any further doubts or any further queries, you could actually reach us out. You could also type down in the chat if you have any doubts. Rohit, I think there's something that you would like to share a little more. I have interrupted in between, so would you come back and tell us?
So yeah, I wanted to mention some actually other three types of Vimanas apart from Pushpaka, Tripura, Rukma, Sundarama, and Sakuna. These were the Vimanas actually mentioned in Vimanika Shastra. Apart from that, there are three more Vimanas which have been decoded from other 20 textbooks. So mainly this is Saubhapura, which is the vehicle of Jarasandha from Mahabharata. Next is Bhutasana and Mahapatha. And these names I found in Katha Sarita Sagar. So these are some sort of some other Vimanas which I found in the books, like especially which I've already told. Like I was not able to fully like tell those names. I found it in like different books like Hindu chemistry, which actually mentions different chemical reactions as well as work with mercury. So mercury in the olden times were used as an edible thing. Like we could have take it and we can be mortal. Like before rasayana was used, the term rasayana mainly means mercury. So mercury was actually which we say amritva in Hindi, like after having that we can become amar. So that mainly was mercury only. So mercury was edible that time. So they had some other processes which made them edible and which made them use in different propulsion system, which actually prevented them from mercury poisoning on any other problems associated with mercury. So what I think is like we need to go to other different texts. Like here I have list of 20. So I have also decoded from other books like more than 40 maybe. So what I have found is like every information is like a golden dust. Like every small little points are golden dust, and that point we have to decode and we have to go further for it. It's just not about the aerodynamics here, because see, if you see different gods, vehicle of gods, like Kartikeya, they have this peacock, and Ganesha having rat, and different vehicles. They were just representation of their likings, that they love those animals, and vehicles were there. But the thing is that behind what is the technology, like because when you have that speed and when you have that technology, they don't require specific aerodynamic feature for it, like specific shape for it to fly, because they have been using different, as I mentioned earlier, that they were using different things which actually bend gravity and also pierce to the space and time. So which made them actually travel much more faster. As I told, and Rig Veda also it mentioned that it was faster than mine. So we can imagine the speed, what it is. And so these were the things I wanted to actually convey. Like there are a lot of things which I want to convey, but it's very little amount of time here. But yes, I have also been researching. See, as a mechanical engineer, I have been researching on a metal which is called nitinol. Let me tell you about the metallurgy of it. Nitinol is actually it's alloy of nickel and titanium. So that wire is such, like I've published a paper on that as well with other professors of mine. So in that that wire has such property that when it is in hot liquid or hot water, it can change its shape. Like it can come into the original shape. If I bend and squeeze it in different shapes, and if I then again put it in the hot water, it will come to its original shape. Then what we have done is we have harnessed this force by the wire, and we created a belt pulley engine out of it. And when we place that thing on the hot fluid or the whatever setup we had done, so when the wire touches the hot water, it suddenly makes a force, and as the wire is constrained between two pulleys, it creates a force which actually creates rotational motion, gives RPM, different RPM, like we used to get 90, 100 RPM. So we can see that not only a propulsion system was used, like this is one of the example where this is a discovery. It's not like invention, like we actually discover everything is in front of our eyes, but we discover. These are discoveries. So definitely there are other discoveries also. It's not about only the propulsion, it's also about the metals they use, because the knowledge is half. Like we don't have full knowledge on every aspects of
So I think
propulsion system.
So Rohit, along with you, I think Kutubananath sir also would like to maybe talk a little and maybe discuss about it. So let me just invite him also. Rohit was talking about these texts and things from them. So what do you think about Rohit's views on it? What is your take on it?
No, text. We don't have text. I searched mostly in the Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, Kashi, Chennai, many manuscript libraries and repositories. We don't have those texts. Those texts are erased from the manuscript catalogs.
Okay, sir. Well then, I would like Kavya to put forth your vote of thanks and the gratitude that people have come up here.
I would like to take the opportunity to give vote of thanks. Thanks a lot to all the members in the panelists for sharing great knowledge on the UFOs and Vimanas. Really, we learned many things today. And I thank the R&D team organizing members, especially Captain Harsha sir, for initiating this conference meeting. Dear panelists, we welcome all of you to participate actively in the conference and give talk on the UFOs and Vimanas. So please share your expert knowledge, views, suggestions regarding this with us and the participants, so that we can ensure that one day future generations receive this knowledge through our platform. We wish to see you all in the coming sessions, meetings and the conference. We'll be looking forward to see you in the upcoming mega event in March 2021. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks everyone for joining. This is a very initial movement for us, and then we are planning on a very big event in March, and we cordially invite you all to be a part of it. So the reason that we wanted to take this step is to ensure that everyone has a certain awareness about these ancient texts and the knowledge that we can derive from there. So I hope this is a discussion that would at least be a starting step to all of us here. Thank you a lot, and we apologize for any kind of mistakes or any kind of errors that we would have made while introducing somebody, or at least while talking about something. We are also at the start, and we are making this to be more better and better each day. Thank you a lot, and we require all your feedback and suggestions. So we request you again and again, please share it, and you can also email us all the questions and all the queries.